August 20th, and we are likely facing one of the strangest days Bitcoin has given us in recent times. We are on a 4-hour chart, and we have seen a markup practically without warning. I mean, we haven't seen any clues in the short term, on the 4-hour or even the 1-hour intraday or scalping charts that would tell us this markup was going to start. In the long term, however, we have indeed been announcing it for a long time. If you see my previous videos, we've always said that we were in an accumulation zone and that we were going to wait for a markup that could probably reach 80,000, 90,000, or even 100,000. We've said that many times, but we were expecting this move to happen in a few months after this move had loaded a bit more. I'm Michael Vasquez, this is Daily Bitcoin Analysis, and we're going to dive deep into this new Wyckoff phase in the long term. We're going to see how it's influencing the intraday, the forecast for the week, 10 days, because we've already entered a new phase with everything prior, and we have to wipe the slate clean and adapt to what the chart has given us, which has been, in any case, much faster than usual. Because, for example, let's go back to the chart. We are on a weekly time frame. Each candle represents a week. And we are seeing yesterday's impressive movement in relation to other markups or markdowns, which are always a bit slower. You can see this last one where the green candles do develop over a week, because this one, even though it's a 1 week candle, the movement has developed in just 1 day. I mean, we are comparing a 1 day candle with a 1 week candle, and the movement is, besides being larger, much, much faster. It has been a very aggressive movement, and without clues, the necessary clues to see that movement, we have to, as I tell you, wipe the slate clean. What I was telling you earlier about the distribution, which is also important, the last distribution was very fast. It lasted 15 days, when you've already seen that the normal thing for a lateralization is for it to last several months. This last one did last several months. The previous one, the other one, in time was something similar to what we have seen before. Very well. We are going to go to 4 hours, and what we are going to do, first of all, is delete all the supports, resistances that we had, because they are no longer, they're not important, or we are in another phase. And what we have to do is look for those new supports and new resistances. As we do, as I explained in my course, in any time frame, now on the 4-hour chart, which is the one giving us these turns, we are going to set supports and resistances. You see that we have to look for those elements or those points that are most likely to be supports or resistances using volume and price turns. We are going to mark the first ones, the clearest ones, and then we are going to go a little deeper. At 74, we have a fairly clear one. Let's mark it. 74, now it's more or less that area. Now, since it's a resistance, we're going to set it in yellow today. We're going to put supports in blue, resistances in yellow. Okay, we have that one very clear. Then way up high is the one at 82. Let's mark that one too. In principle, it's moving very far away from the area we're in, but we don't know how far the movement is going to go. That is, this markup has started, and the normal thing would be for it to go at most just to the area where it currently is, 71. It's also a resistance area. Let's mark it. It could be normal to stop in this area. However, the scare or this big movement, we can't predict how far it's going to continue. That's why when it reaches these resistance areas, in this case, we have to be very attentive to how the volume comes in. If I extend the chart now, we will see the volume, which was massive yesterday. A truly impressive thing. If you saw the chart, how it was developing in real time, it was going very, very fast. Very well. We also have those two support levels set in this area, a little over 70, 79. If you remember when it was last in this area, 79, we said it was a very important element of the chart. We are going to keep in mind, in principle, we are going to put many more resistance levels than we usually put, because we don't know exactly where the price is going to stabilize. At some point, this price will stabilize and a lateralization will begin to probably start a first distribution or a first distribution or a definitive distribution. It is important to keep in mind how the volume reacts. We were waiting, for example, in this area near 70, we started to see, I'm going to remove the volume first so that we can see that area well. The 70 zone, we started to see wicks that gave us a stop. Volume started to come in a bit in that position where the price wasn't moving and volume was coming in. We started to understand that markup had probably ended, but we have seen that the upward movement continues. That's why, in principle, what we have to do is be very attentive to those zones. I've marked these for you, but you know that you can find them easily because now we're talking about thousands of points, that is. Bitcoin from 64,000 to 69,000, 70,000, 71,000. We're talking about thousands just like we used to talk about hundreds. So the movement can still be very aggressive. Let's see how it calms down, how it reaches a zone where we can perfectly control the movement. Because right now, getting into the chart, it's easy to get stuck. I mean, you could go long, and this is exactly the move where the sideways movement was going to start. Or you could go short, and the move still has room to advance up to 74,000, or as we said, that markup could easily go up to 80,000. Any situation's possible right now. What we're not going to see, now it is already opted for that option B that we've discussed many times in the video. That long term, as I told you, that markup was going to happen, which we didn't expect, but it appeared yesterday. In any case, we're going to wait for that sideways movement, and what won't happen, even though we might expect it, I, for example, have some positions in this area, in this lower zone, which I'll leave as a long-term investment because at some point, Bitcoin will probably return to those levels of 63, 64,000, and it's like a long-term investment. In any case, we certainly won't be seeing those levels of 63, 64,000 for the rest of the month of August, and now we'll see what this new zone has in store for us. It's a very, very interesting zone in terms of how we're seeing the price, how the volume has come in, and how the strong hands have reacted all of a sudden. We had never seen, at least in recent times, such a fast movement. The 74 zone, as you can see, is a very interesting zone where that distribution phase could begin. The best thing now is to see how the chart evolves, or in case you're doing scalping or intraday trading, what you can do is make moves in favor of the chart. We've already seen that the pullback that was clearly expected hasn't happened, and it has continued to go up. The most advisable thing if you're doing scalping or intraday trading is to go with the movement now. That is to enter long with an SL, in this case, close by. Normally, in my own trading, I don't use an SL, and I prefer to watch how the chart evolves and decide whether or not to exit the positions. But I'm telling you, the chart today is something completely anomalous, and we have to wait for it to stabilize so we can take our positions in a more interesting way and with more security. Here, for example, you're seeing a lot of wicks in the opposite direction, indicating a slowdown. But they weren't wicks that were signaling to us. Now, looking back, it's obvious. They weren't signaling that the move was going to be downward, even though normally when they appear, that's what they're telling us. What it was telling us is that the move was simply catching its breath, gathering a bit of strength, because it had already risen too fast, too much, and too fast. It was just catching its breath and has continued. Let's see what I'm telling you, how it evolved. I was also telling you about the challenge, the August challenge. I've held my positions in my personal trading for the reason I told you, for the long term. I'm trading without leverage, so I can certainly afford that luxury, so to speak, of waiting for the move to return to the area where I entered. On the other hand, for the August challenge, since I'm using 10 times leverage, I did close the position. Currently, the account has gone down. We were, I think, at 600 and something. Now it's at 535. We've gone back a bit, but in any case, as you can see, it's still positive. I mean, with this terrible crash of Bitcoin, the August challenge is still certainly has a little bit of profit, but it is positive. I started on August 1st with 500 euros. I'm making micro entries of 15, 20 every day, looking for those favorable moves. Now I have, no, I don't set an SL either, but in case I see the chart moving too much against me, I do cut the trade. It's not that it's a stop loss, but rather that I activate it in real time. If you want to participate, what I do is raffle off the excess. Right now it's very little, but well, last month I made $92. The chart last month was much more normal. I predicted the movement in a fairly normal way, which is what we usually do in the VIP Telegram. And well, I will raffle it off among all those who sign up for the mex.com exchange and make your first deposit. MEXC, once you are an active user, will give you a reward of $50, and I will give you access to the VIP Telegram where I post the trades. Right now, I'm going to stop posting trades for a bit because I'm telling you, the chart is such that it's almost better to watch from the sidelines than to get in, because it's not normal what we're seeing. And often staying out of the chart, preserving capital is the way of winning. I'm Michael Vazquez. This is Daily Bitcoin Analysis. I really appreciate you watching this video, and as I always tell you, this is not financial advice. Rather, I am sharing my experience with you after more than 15 years in professional trading. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video, because this has been impressive. We'll see where it stops. If it starts that lateralization now, if we can visualize a distribution, a second accumulation, a first distribution, we are going to look at all those clues and analyze them one by one. See you later.